Hey everyone, I wanted to put this short video together to talk about an inexpensive alternative to an ultralight backpacking spoon. This is the Sea to Summit Alpha Light Hard Anodized Alloy Spoon. I just bought it a couple weeks ago, so I haven't had a chance to use it just yet, so I'm not going to comment on how its used at this time. This is a cheap plastic spoon from the store. It was either Walmart or the dollar store, or I can't remember which or where I purchased it from. But I have used this one on several backpacking trips and it performed great. So let's look at some of the specs between these two spoons. The Sea to Summit is a metal spoon that weighs in at a whopping 0.4 ounces. Cheap plastic spoon weighs in at a whopping 1 ounce. Now, just to give you a comparison and idea of this, the weight difference between these two spoons is the difference of 3/4. The weight of 3/4 is the difference between these two spoons. That's it. This weight won't hurt you that much even after 10 miles of backpacking. Alright, now let's get into cost. The Sea to Summit spoon costs $9. This cheap plastic spoon costs $1. The Sea to Summit is, we're going to measure this one at, the official specs are 8.5 inches, which that's lining up at about 8.5 inches. We'll go to the cheap plastic over here, and you're looking at about, at least for this one, you're looking at about 13.5 inches. I'm going to use this dehydrated meal as the basis for this test because this packaging is one of the bigger packages that are out there for dehydrated meals. Fancy metal, if you put it towards the bottom here, which is roughly in this spot, you could still end up getting your fingers in this bag because the zip lock portion is right around this spot here. So it is possible to still get your fingers in this bag. Cheap plastic, not a chance. In fact, I have to scoot it down just to get to the top of the spoon. Look at all that. That's a big difference. Okay, so I get, now you're probably asking me, why would I spend money on this fancy metal spoon over here? Well, if you call within the next 30 minutes, not only will we throw in one additional spoon, we will throw in a third extra spoon. That's right, you get 3 spoons for the low cost of $1. Okay, I'm going to move these back out of the way. That's not where I wanted to go with that. So, we're going to move on to, Another argument could be made for visibility of these spoons. If you were to drop cheap plastic over here onto the ground at nighttime, you probably wouldn't have much trouble finding it with your headlamp. Fancy metal, not so much. Which is why I removed the carabiner that it came with and I added some reflective cordage to this to help find it in case I have to find it. And if I drop it, I don't want to spend $9 on this spoon and then lose it. This reflective material that's in the cordage will help me find it. Another fact that absolutely shocked me was this right here. Made in the USA. Who would have ever thought that these cheap plastic spoons would be made in the USA? I didn't even notice that until putting this whole video together is when I saw this. Well, if that's a strong argument for you, there you go. So to answer your question as to why I'm switching, it's this. I'm advancing my food mentality and I'm getting away from these prepackaged meals in favor of self-made meals that are more calorie dense food choices. That means I'll be cooking more and rehydrating less. I don't want to use these cheap plastic spoons because, as you can see from use in the kitchen, you will have some melting of the plastic. I did use these in the kitchen regularly, but now that I'll be cooking more, I don't want to be melting in this pot. I don't want this plastic melting. So for anyone that's debating on whether they should spend the big money on the fancy metals, I hope this helps. And by the way, I will be using this one on the backpacking trip that I'll be taking in a couple weeks. So then I will get to use this guy. Talk to y'all later.